Get that paper, told that Glock, that's how we live. Yeah, my life's a game, I pray I don't get killed. They can't believe I got the guap, this shit for real. Can't accept the fact my brother gone, I wanna kill. Yeah, I can't go for that shit don't sit right. Instead of capping to the old nigga, I know what you live like. Ain't worried about all, just fuck these hoes and live life. I go on the drill, I'm smart enough, you got no.
With the swordsmith battle finally being settled, the Demon Slayers and Hashira took a look to a hopeful future. With constant victories on a large scale, it seemed that everything was now in their favor. Still though, there was a constant threat of Muzan lurking within the background. And if these two demons could become this strong in just such a short amount of time, there was no telling how strong many others were, as they would even rival some of the Hashira. Returning to the Butterfly Estate, Tanjiro and company began recovering and training once again. However, his blade was damaged too badly and must be fixed or reforged. Knowing that, he's actually told to go within the swordsmith village to get his blade fixed. However, before he departs, he then goes to Giyu to talk to him, as we would see this. Giyu tells the young demon slayer that Uzui Tengen has retired as the Sound Hashira, as it was shocking news to Tanjiro. However, he doesn't ask any questions. Giyu would let Tanjiro know that if he's able to keep up what he's doing, soon he may even become a Hashira himself, and he plans to help him reach that level. He will train him for these days remaining until his departure. Then, we would skip by these days to see Tanjiro arriving into the swordsmith village, taking off his blindfold and his nose plug, enjoying the scenery before walking off on his own. Tanjiro thinks about his own training with Giyu and how his frost breathing has reached even new heights that he couldn't have never imagined. In just a couple days, he'd become so much more of a threat. Tanjiro then begins walking around and meets the chief of the village, with the chief explaining that the man who Tanjiro's blade, well, the one who makes it, is in deep work right now. Hotaru believes that his craftsmanship is lacking due to Tanjiro's blades always being broken, chipped, or even shattered. Tanjiro would blame himself. However, the chief points out that the blades of the Hashira have never done so. And as the next Hashira in line, Tanjiro deserves a blade that can support him on his endeavors. Hearing that, Tanjiro fully understands the gravity of the situation that they were in. And with that, Tanjiro decides to continue exploring while he was here, eventually running into Mitsuri, the love Hashira, who explains that there was a secret weapon that was hidden here, and it will be useful to him. It will elevate Tanjiro to the level of Hashira, boosting his morale even further. The next morning, Tanjiro heads out. He almost feels destined to become a Hashira due to the rest of, everyone here helping him out so much and leading the way. Maybe Tengen was truly right about him, and a new era beginning through him. He later runs into Tokito and a small child, as the two would go back and forth. Then Tanjiro butts in, with these two going back and forth as well. With Tanjiro fully protecting the young boy, Tokito gets so annoyed to the point where he just leaves them there. He decides he'll just train on his own and become even stronger. This is when he instantly turns around, knocking out Tanjiro. And he goes to fight the doll once again. Tanjiro will wake up as the boy was actually trying to fix the doll, as he is able to see it. Yorichi Type 0. Kotetsu and Tanjiro would look at the doll, seeing that it was broken, but they continue to try to fix it, with the doll eventually standing up. Incredible. Just how can it move once again? Kotetsu then promises to make Tanjiro stronger so they could stand up to Tokito. Kotetsu would then look at the doll as it gets ready to engage Tanjiro. Tanjiro stood before the formidable doll, feeling the weight of his heritage that was passed down onto him. He had inherited the breath of the sun from his ancestors, a skill rarely possessed by any other demon slayer except for one in history. He was so determined to then master frost breathing as well, an unknown technique that he had developed through his rigorous training and the endeavors he had faced. The fusion of these two powerful techniques will be the key to overcoming his next challenges. As the training commenced, Tanjiro focused on his breathing, channeling the power of the sun while simultaneously harnessing the chill of the frost. The doll sprang to life, its 6 arms moving with an uncanny speed and precision. Tanjiro's heart raced at the thought of even getting hit, but these flurry of strikes he would have to dodge, as he had to hone his instincts. But even this wouldn't be enough. Remember, Tanjiro, you have the strength of everyone backing you up. Kotetsu's voice had rang out, echoing throughout the area that they were in. The young boy, a skilled swordsman, with a heart full of encouragement, watched intensely as Tanjiro would engage the doll. He had been tasked with repairing it whenever it broke, and his enthusiasm fueled Tanjiro's determination. With each swing of the doll's blades, Tanjiro felt the pressure mount. He was pushed to his very limits, not knowing what would come next. With every movement, a dance would happen between life and death. He employed his frost-breathing techniques, creating barriers of ice that slowed down the doll's movements. However, it was fast enough to even move around these barricades, and it would swing right at Tanjiro once again, hitting him, sending him flying. Tanjiro would get back up. With so much encouragement from Kotetsu, he would then clench his fists, looking ahead, reminding him of so much that he had depending on him. Days began to pass as the training progressed. Tanjiro began to learn the doll's movements and its patterns. Each strike had a certain rhythm to it that he could anticipate, drawing on both frost breathing and the breath of the sun. He then found a perfect balance, launching a series of counterattacks that caught the doll off guard, and with each successful strike, he felt a surge of confidence. But the doll was relentless. It responded with an increased aggression, forcing Tanjiro to dig deeper within his reserves. And in his moment of exhaustion, he stumbled back, but Kotetsu's voice rang throughout his mind. You're not just fighting for yourself, Tanjiro. You're fighting for everyone who can't fight. Remember that. Tanjiro then surged forward, channeling sun breathing. In a final flurry of moments, he unleashed a powerful attack that shatters the doll's defenses, sending it crashing to the ground. Panting heavily, Tanjiro would stand victorious. A mix of exhaustion and exhilaration washed over him. He would turn to Kotetsu, who beamed with pride. You did it, Tanjiro. That was amazing. Tanjiro smiled, grateful for the encouragement that had fueled his spirit. Thanks, Kotetsu, but I couldn't have done it without you. As they surveyed the broken doll, Tanjiro would look down. There was something off. As they looked inside, they watched a blade shine within the sunlight. Just what could this be? Tanjiro would then remember the words of Mitsuri about the weapon that would be here for him. Could this be what she was hinting at? But how could she even know? Kotetsu would retrieve the blade and give it to Tanjiro, saying that he deserved it more than anyone else. He is truly a kind soul and has the strength to ascend to a Hashira. But before they could leave with the blade, Hotaru arrives, taking the blade, but is stopped by the elder. Still, it ends up with him taking the blade and heading off to reform it and create something even better for Tanjiro. This was truly his chance to redeem himself, so he would take it with pride. Moving on, Tanjiro, later that day, will be thinking to himself, what life would be like when all of this was over. That night, as Tanjiro slowly begins to fall asleep, he later snaps out of his sleep. Something was off. He didn't know what it was, but he couldn't just lay down. As in this moment, Tokito had appeared in the room. So you sensed me. That's impressive, even for you. These two begin their short exchange until a demon slips into a room and they both attack it without hesitation. Tokito uses mist breathing, but the demon evades it, landing on the ceiling, only to be caught in ice by Tanjiro. This is when Nezuko rips the demon into 2 pieces. Instantly, it regenerates into 2 brand new demons, with one of them sending Tokito flying. Tanjiro couldn't focus on that. and catches the other demon off guard using his frost breathing to slice his arm clean off. But he's kicked away by the other one. While flying midair, he sees Genya in a battle with his own shotgun, catching the demons off guard. This is when the real battle would truly begin. With this battle continuing, the demons eventually split into their 4 personas of emotions. And with them being outnumbered, Tanjiro tells Nezuko to help Genya, as he plans to take down these two in front of him with ease. They would claim that he's crazy. To defeat both of them here would be insane. Tanjiro nods, not even saying much at all, as he plans not to drag this fight out. So why even hold back at this point? They would attack, but he vanishes, appearing behind them. He's fast. Are we sure he's only a mere human? Wait, just where is he? Both demons will feel something cold around their bodies, a chilling sensation that hit every one of their cells. Frost breathing, hidden technique, eternal winter. Snow begins to fall in the area as both demons are completely frozen, alongside everything around them. They manage to break free before they were shattered and rush Tanjiro. As they slash at the young slayer, ice freezes around him to create a shield. Suddenly, blades of ice appear around our hero as he begins to slice around these demons. However, this is when Hotaru would appear once again, throwing the reforged blade to our hero, who uses it, cutting through them with multiple angles. Tanjiro slowly walked away and then crushed his hand, allowing the ice to capture them and shatter the remaining pieces. Just what was this new form of frost breathing? And when did he gain such a power? Genya, seeing this as well, wishing he could use a technique like that. Tanjiro then slides into their battle as well, completely destroying the demons in front of them, as they would notice that their bodies still haven't faded away, and that's due to Hantegu's real body still running. However, once it was sensed by Tanjiro, he rushes in. This is the end for you. Right as he goes to slice it in half, he falls to the ground holding his chest, remembering his training with Giyu. Tanjiro, you will only have 30 seconds with this technique, so use it wisely. Tanjiro begins coughing up blood. His body, it felt heavier than anything he's ever felt in his life. Luckily for him, Tokito was here as well, finishing up his own battle earlier because of the Demon Slayer mark, and he finishes off the battle once and for all. However, their group was in an open area while the sun began to rise, with Nezuko being in danger. Tanjiro slowly turns, his body so in pain he couldn't even move. Was this the end for Nezuko? All he could do was put his hand out and continue to cough up blood, because if he tried to move another inch, he was sure he would pass out. Only thing he can do now was scream in agony, believing his sister to be dead. But this was the moment where Nezuko conquers the sun, walking over to her brother with the bamboo falling off of her face, using her blood demon art to heal his internal injuries. She speaks, saying she's glad that he's all right, and Tanjiro was shocked more than anyone else, with this now being an event that would mark history, as the Hashira have an even greater advantage and have been on a winning streak. Returning later to the Butterfly Estate and base headquarters of the Demon Slayers, Tanjiro was set to meet with Ubuyashiki and his children. Since he was so ill, his words were that of the few, so he had his children explain that since becoming a Demon Slayer, Tanjiro has had to reset the course of history, to now they have a fighting chance against Muzan himself and the remaining upper moons. This is when Ubuyashiki turns his head to Tanjiro. Kamado Tanjiro, from this point on, you will no longer be a part of the regular members of the Demon Slayer Corps. You will now be honored with the title of Hashira, now being known as Tanjiro, the frost-breathing Hashira.